Hey there Internet, welcome to the Hard On Gear channel where I discuss and review my used and abused knives and gear. So here is my next cold steel that I purchased, the Code 4. So I have had my Recon 1 for a long ass time. I feel stupid that I didn't bring it with me to training. Last time I was home, I haven't really used it for a while because it's kind of beaten up, but I should have brought it for the size reference. At least for this guy, because this is very similar to the Recon 1. And by the way, I have already opened this. I've been handling it the last couple of days, but for your own viewing pleasure, I've kind of just stuck it back in the box the way I found it. So the Code 4 is almost like a Recon 1 Lite, at least as far as I can tell in my opinion. It's a little bit shorter at 8.5 inches, the Recon 1 being a 9-inch overall knife, so a little bit larger, but very similar handle cutouts if you're familiar with the Recon 1, which I'm sure I'll put a picture off to the side here for comparison, since I'm stupid and did not bring my own Recon 1. The Code 4, this is a $105 to $10 knife if you're getting it from the States, from most of the websites you typically get it from. And in Canada, you'll pick one of these up for around $140, $150. Like many different cold steel knives, it comes with a few different options. The blade type can either be a spear point, which is my preferred blade, and this is really almost a perfect blade profile for my liking. You can also get it in a tanto or clip point. I think those are your only options. Your handle is an aluminum scale, a lot thinner, a lot lighter than some of the G10 stuff that cold steel has. The Recon 1's definitely a little bit thicker than this and definitely a little heavier. Let's see what we got for specs. Actually, Cold Steel's boxes are nice for this. The weight, 4.3 ounces. The Recon 1, I believe, comes in around 5 or 5.1 or 5.2. This is, about an ounce lighter. A little bit shorter, blade length of 3.5 inches, where the Recon 1's I do believe is a full 4 inches. CPM S35VN, so a little bit of an upgrade from S30V, which is what you're typically going to get on most of your Spydercos and most of your modern Benchmades. Although now the older Benchmades came in the 154 CM, and then you get fancier stuff like the Benchmade Freak, which is an M4. Basically, the S35VN is a slightly upgraded version of S30V, although some people will tell you there's not really much of a difference. I haven't noticed a huge one myself, as most of my S35VN knives, I think the only couple that I have are my newer Cold Steels, like the 8015, and they're both thicker blade stock, so it's really hard for me to compare to the thin sliciness of the S30V behind some of the Spyderco knives that I have. The blade thickness is saying about 3.5 millimeters. It's going to be obviously quite a bit thinner behind the edge. I'm not too sure at the moment what that is, but it's a lot thinner profile than what you're going to find on a lot of cold steels. And if you look at the 8015, for example, and I believe the 8010's around the same, you've got a much thicker blade stock, and it's not going to be quite as slicey behind the edge. This Code 4, I believe, will be a nice balance, where I've been carrying the Paramilitary 2 a lot lately, but it's a little too fragile, and we're messing around with machine guns and some different things where you need the use of, say, a good multi-tool, and loud Velcro tear, Leatherman Mutt, which I'm using for a lot of the, let's say, prying and the freeing of jams and that kind of stuff. But there is a time when maybe the knife does get used for some stuff that knives shouldn't be used for, maybe in just a last-ditch effort. Not that you're supposed to, but like anything in my old job and stuff, sometimes you find purposes for knives that you didn't expect, and you don't want to really chip the end of your nice S30V, super hard to sharpen, or at least, time-consuming to sharpen knives. So I wanted something a little more meaty, but not something that was so heavy and thick in the pocket like the 8015 or even the Recon 1. So the Code 4 is something I wanted to pick up for a while. It's definitely a lot thinner and a lot lighter and a lot less noticeable in the pocket, but it's still just about as capable. It's got a nice swedge here at the top of the blade, which still gives it nice penetration, and still thin enough of a full flat grind to be able to do a lot of slicing. Came out of the box like most cold steels, pretty damn sharp. Not quite that scary Spyderco sharp, but definitely no issues taking hair off the arm. So the other thing that came in the box is, of course, if you know me, I'm left-handed, so the left-handed pocket clip, which I jammed in there apparently a little too well, is something to take note on with cold steel knives. A lot of them have a non-ambidextrous pocket clip, so you have to keep track of the left and right hand. So this is the left-hand pocket clip for this, and I could also, if I wanted to, stick this probably on my Cold Steel Recon 1, and now I'll have a left-handed pocket clip for it if I so desired. However, I'll probably end up getting a new Recon 1 eventually, like I've been saying for the last freaking year and a half, but for now, I think this is going to be a nice compromise where I'll be able to do pretty much everything I need to in this current line of work with this knife, aside from the folding knife, the fixed blade and the multi-tool that I'm typically carrying, which right now I guess you could say my EDC for my current infantry training is the Leatherman Mutt, the SE Azula 2, and or the Topps-Mill Spy Elite, depending on what I'm carrying that day. But I've been carrying the Azula 2 a lot more lately, just because it's a lot smaller and I can kind of keep it a little bit more low profile, so it doesn't look like I've got like 3 freaking knives on me, just for the sake of drawing extra attention to myself on course. But this is so handy to have. It's basically a little pry bar, so it's hard for me not to want to have this on my person. This Code 4 is definitely a little bit overkill for what some people are going to want, and some people will tell me, like, you know, you don't need something this large for a folder, especially if you're carrying other stuff on you, or even just a multi-tool should be enough. But for any of the knife nerds out there, you'll know what I mean when I say each one has their own purpose, and there's some things I'm going to want to do with this that I'm not going to want to do with this, and certainly vice versa for the SE Azula. This thing is going to go through a lot of abuse that maybe even the cold steel might not take as a folding knife, and with a little bit more of a delicate edge. Although I'd say as far as delicate knives go, this isn't really one of them, which is kind of the reason I wanted to buy it. So I mentioned in my last week's video that this might be a possibility for the giveaway that I'm doing here in the next little bit, as I've now reached the 1,000 subscriber mark. So check that video out if you haven't seen it yet. But more or less, there's going to be a giveaway coming up where I'm going to allow you to choose whoever the winner is, which from whatever country you're from, so long as you're able to order knives in your country. I'll try and work it out so that I can get that knife to you from me, your choice of fixed blade or folder. So the fixed blade is going to be the Azula 2. Depending on supply and all that stuff, we'll figure out how we go about it, but I want to try and make sure I include that whole SE survival mounting kit, which has got the spring steel belt clip, which is extremely handy, and I believe more or less an essential part of this carry system for the Azula 2, at least as far as the standard carry. But you can get the Artemis sheath and different aftermarket stuff for it as well, and there's different ways to mount these with, say, ulti clips and different stuff. But really big fan of the Azula 2 belt clip. So at about $150 value Canadian, about $110 American for that whole kit. That's the goal there, and then it's around the same price for the cold steel, this is getting difficult, cold steel Code 4 at around the same price. So I feel pretty confident in this. The Recon 1 was kind of the initial choice. A little bit more expensive, not much, but definitely a bigger knife, a little bit chunkier. I think this is a better compromise for most people, as I know the Recon 1 will be too large and a little too tactical for a lot of folks' preferences. Okay, a couple more quick size comparisons. How about next to the other cold steel that I've got with me right now, the 8015. So again, we'll just do a couple little perspectives here, but they're about the same length, a little bit longer on the Code 4, and a lot thicker profile for sure, like 2.5 times maybe at the very least as far as thickness goes in comparison. So without a doubt, probably not going to be able to do as much with the Code 4 as the 8015. This knife could probably handle about as much as a lot of fixed blades. Not to say this one can't, as it is a cold steel triad lock, but there's definitely a little more structure to the 8015. So I'm curious to see how this handles a little bit of the abuse that it might be taking over the next little bit. But again, the size to weight to capability ratio, I think, is going to be just about perfect with this thing. So let me know what you think about the Code 4. Let me know what you think about it being a giveaway option for the fixed blade, the folding knife option for the 1,000 subscriber giveaway that's going to be going on soon. And feel free to check out the unboxing and other videos for the 8015, Mannix 2, Paramilitary 2, all kinds of different stuff. And let me know in the comments if there's any different knives that you think should be my military carry that I'm not thinking of. Like I've got the M16 03BS here from CRKT. A few different guys have got different CRKT knives, different M16s, M21s. So I've got to handle a few of them. They're pretty nice, but I do believe I'm quite content with this Code 4 as my choice for now. I'll let you know how it goes in the coming months. And yeah, again, just maybe do a separate video soon on the military carry that I've kind of chosen right now for my general EDC. Or I guess the EDC that I'm using right now while I'm on course at least, which is the Azula 2 Mutt from Leatherman and the Code 4 now, which is more or less replaced the paramilitary too, which I've been carrying for the most part. Hit the like button on this video if you feel like it, and if you enjoyed the content and you want to pump it out to more knife enthusiasts. We'll see you on the next one. Thank you so lot for your viewership and your subscribing and getting me to 1,000 and all that. The channel is officially monetized, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, see you next time. This is the Hard On Gear channel signing off.